Recently, some people in my family have had to have a heart stress test. I'm not sure if you've ever had one of these. The cardiologist has you get on a treadmill, something you most likely wouldn't do if you felt like your heart was in bad shape. Yet he does it anyway. They stick enough little glue-like monitors on your every part of your body so that you feel like you're hooked up to a computer. They do this and then they tell you to start a slow walk on a treadmill. After you've successfully navigated the slow walk, they then accelerate the treadmill so that you are making a more brisk walk. Before long, the treadmill is raised to a small incline, making the strides a little more difficult and physically exerting. To make a long story short, especially if you're the one on the treadmill, the machine ends up going straight uphill and at a large pace, and you're huffing and puffing to keep up and not be eaten alive by this insidious machine. All this is being done by a doctor who claims to have your best interest at heart. He does. He's measuring or testing how your heart responds to find out how healthy you are. At each stage, the monitors are recording how your heart responds. The person I spoke to most recently said they accelerated his heartbeat up to 190 beats a minute during his test. That's a lot of stress on the heart. This is how they can measure the health of your heart. So there you have it. For a brief period of time, the doctor is more concerned about learning how your heart responds than he is concerned about your comfort level. Well, long before cardiologists invented this torture mechanism, God himself designed just such a stress test. When the Jewish people left a life of slavery in Egypt under a repressive Pharaoh, God led them across a barren wilderness to a promised land. Looking back on that sojourn, Joshua would later write an interesting note. He said in Deuteronomy 8:2 and 3, "Remember how the Lord your God led you through the wilderness for these 40 years, humbling you and testing you to prove your character and to find out whether or not you would obey his commands. Yes, he humbled you by letting you go hungry and then feeding you with manna, a food previously unknown to you and your ancestors. He did it to teach you that people do not live by bread alone. Rather, we live by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord." This wilderness excursion was in essence a spiritual stress test of its own. According to Scripture, the purpose of this spiritual wandering was to find out whether or not you would obey his commands. They were put in conditions that required a maximization of their faith. During this process, they were humbled and allowed to go hungry. Doesn't sound like a very comfortable place to be in, does it? Much like the cardiologist arranging conditions to examine your physical health, God engineered these events in their lives to see what the nature of their heart was spiritually. The truth is that most of us do not know where we are spiritually until we're tested. It is in the crucible of life's experiences that our character is revealed. God, as our great physician, is far more interested in our spiritual health and well-being than he is in our momentary comfort. In this case, Joshua made it clear that it was God who led them through this experience. It's never easy to get tested. Stress is never a comforting experience. Yet it is often an opportunity for spiritual growth. The purpose of these stress tests are to examine your health and to teach you how to live a healthy lifestyle. God said that he wanted the people to learn as a result of the experiences they endured that their lives were dependent not on human ability and ingenuity, but upon his word and direction. He wants us to come out of these experiences with a trust factor that is high. We are to learn that the way to live is to trust Him and to obey Him in all that we do. Perhaps you feel as though you have been walking a spiritual treadmill and you wonder how much you can take. Regardless of the source of the stress and the test, let it be an opportunity for you to learn to depend on God for your sustenance daily. Lean on Him and trust Him to see you through. As you do, your faith grows and the quality of your life grows. And who knows, God may feed you from an unexpected source. He provided manna for them. Who knows what He'll provide for you? Here's a great thought for the day. How I respond to the events of this day reveals a lot about my spiritual health. Here's a great prayer to pray today. God, teach me today to trust You in spite of anything that happens around me. God bless you.